Welcome back to the Real Life Fishing Podcast. I'm the host, Jimmy Easterling, and guys, since the last episode, a lot's happened. So I went back-to-back weeks on episodes. Randy Blockett was the last one, which was when our out-of-the-state guest. And man, it's had good feedback. The people that's listened to it, both on YouTube and on the other podcast platforms. But we are back this week with Arkansas guest. We have a young angler, Devin Garner, and guys, once again, when I do these podcasts, I don't even know these guys until I do the podcast. Enjoyed having Devin on. We talked about a few things in this podcast. Devin, guys, last year was a part of the team, him and his brother, part of the team that won the Trader Bills Team Championship. And the Trader Bills is starting back up this week. So I reached out to Devin, a couple months ago. I was like, hey, man, I'd like to have you on before the Trader Bills starts. And then, so much kind of going on in recent weeks, and he hit me up and we filmed it, man, knocked it out. Devin did a good job. But like I said, before meeting Devin, guys, I just, saw pictures of him with big fish, pictures of him doing good in tournaments, like a lot of you guys might, okay? But kind of get to know more about Devin in this podcast. Of course, he shared about his brother, how him and his brother fish together, but they compete against each other in the boat. Devin's been fishing, it seemed like since he could walk. So a lot of knowledge, a lot of fishing experience. And so we talked about a little bit of variety of all on the podcast. Guys, this segment, I kind of talk about the tournaments, kind of what's been going on, right? Tournaments, man, a lot's happened, I think, since the Randy podcast. But I know Mr. Bass was last weekend. And I'm going to go top of my head. I don't have a script here. I like to wing it, guys. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're doing. Mr. Bass was last weekend. Colam won the Mr. Bass. I think he had 17 pounds around there. But guys, 120 boats, I think, showed up for Mr. Bass. It's a lot of boats. Dude, a lot of guys. I mean, the field, you look through the field and there's a lot of really, really good anglers. And then for Cole, I don't know Cole. I've kind of talked to somebody that's talked to Cole. I like to get Cole on the podcast, get to know more about him, and for you guys to get to know about him. But Cole's been catching fish for a long time. Right now and all the talk is forward-facing sonar, live scope, this. I mean, Cole was catching fish before live scope. Guys, I don't even know Cole, but I'm just telling you, Cole was catching before live scope. I'm making a guess he has it dialed in, and he's pretty good with it. Just making a guess. So Cole won that one, pretty big. I'm trying to think of the other tournaments top of my head. I know yesterday a lot of tournaments been going on. Guys, Hamilton has had 4 or 5 tournaments every weekend, okay? So Hamilton, I know, what was the tournament at Hamilton? Rusty Hook's been to Hamilton. There's some big fish caught in it. Rusty Hook was at Degray yesterday. My man Trent and his dad Ricky. Trent and Ricky are on fire right now. I mean, last 2 tournaments that they fished together, they have won. Trent could not fish at Hamilton due to his son having a birthday. I know Trent pretty well, guys. He's part of Futrell, which I am. Y'all guys know I'm part of Futrell. But Trent got to go fish with his dad at Degray. They got in a pattern, won there. Hamilton yesterday, I think someone said Chris Huselton won. Chris, I don't know Chris. Maybe get him on the podcast. Chris is a hammer. I mean, just his track record and history. He's one of those tournament anglers that just make good decisions on the fly and catches fish every derby. He's consistent, okay? Trying to think of other tournaments that's kind of happening, guys. Bassmaster Opens is coming up this week. They're practicing right now. I'm looking at the weather. It's cold and rainy, so good day to practice right now for the Opens, huh? So I'm excited to see what the Opens do there. BPT, we had our man Spencer Sheffield for Arkansas get close to winning. Close. I was pulling for him with a lot of you Arkansas guys as well. Bassmaster Elites is about to start. Right now, the Invitationals is at Sam Rayburn, and I've kind of got some reports on it. I've been fishing past couple days on my forward-facing sonar trip, so I've not kind of kept up as much. But guys, I guess one thing I can talk about, we're going to try to make a show on it. There's been some big fish caught since the last podcast. I mean, some big fish. My man Cannon Harmon caught the 11 from Degray. And then I got to be a part of the 12-6 that got caught. My client, my man Dabney Hammer, came down, wanted a forward-facing sonar teaching trip, electronics kind of offshore teaching trip, and that's my biggest requested trip. Dude, he caught that 12 at Degray, and it's unreal. I'm not getting all that right now, but it was awesome to be a part of that. It really was. A fish that big, that size, guys, that's a 16 in Texas probably comparing, right? In Arkansas, I know people that their biggest bass is 6 pounds, 7 pounds. I'm talking legit anglers, 8 pounders. And to see a fish like that, pretty sweet, okay? Pretty cool opportunity. I'm just glad to be a part of it. A lot of people have caught big fish with me. Just is what it is, okay? I'm just going to tell you guys. It just happens. So, my forward-facing sonar trips, you want more information on it, go to my Jimmy Eastern Fishing Facebook page. What happens with electronics, guys, is people go out and buy this stuff. And you can watch it on YouTube or this, but they don't fish every day. They don't get all the time to fish, or they don't figure it out, and then they get frustrated by it, okay? So what I do is I come in your boat and help you. I teach you settings. I teach you how to change the settings, and then I show you how to like get better at using them. Some of them times are forward-facing sonar specific trips, but guys, I've done offshore teaching lessons without live scope. Both the forward-facing, I even go through drills to help you get better. Try to shorten your learning gap, because I'm telling you guys, when I'm on the water as much as I am, even this month, February. Okay, it's February 11th. I've been on the water 6 days this month. In January, I was on the water 9 days. Okay, guys, and I had a kid, and it snowed for a week. Okay, so I get to be on the water a lot with what I do. And so when you get someone like me that's on the water a lot, I learn a lot. It just is what it is, okay? Guys that build houses and make cabinets and make shelves, they do it a lot. They're better at it than me, okay? So like, if you're a guy that works every day of the week and you get to fish on weekends, do the math. So that's what I'm there for. I try to help you teach it. My dude yesterday that I went and met from Texas, okay guys, my iPhone how about that? My iPhone storage got full, so I had to restart. So here we go. So this guy got this boat and told this marine dealer, I want this boat rigged like a tournament professional ready boat. So what he did. And so they got the boat ready for him, asked, this electronic, this. He got it, right? And then during the trip, I found out, I saw his volts were low on his active target screen the first day. Then I realized his battery that is running his motor and his 4 units and that active target was a gel battery. And I was like, dude, you need better. And he already mentioned it was supposed to be a tournament ready rig boat. So I was like, dude, you need a lithium battery, or you need to get a lithium for this, but a gel battery running the motor and 4 graphs and active target, it's not going to work. You might get stranded one day, right? The battery might die. So the next day we fished, it actually died. Okay, we had to jump the boat. So with that, he learned that. And that's one thing I get to do with you guys is there's little things like that. Now that marine dealer, he is probably going to get a phone call. He got this boat in Texas. He's from Texas. Not going to say the dealer, not going to put him out there, but they're going to get a phone call because they didn't do him right. They didn't. Now with that, guys, you want to trust a dealership and trust a dealership when you're ordering your boat, getting it set up and rigged and anything. It can be a pontoon boat, wake boat, I don't care, duck boat. But guys, Futural Marine, there's a reason they're the #1 dealer in Arkansas. Okay, there's a reason. It's the customer satisfaction. Okay, if you come to Futural Marine and you say I want a boat rigged tournament ready, they're going to get it rigged tournament ready, and they're going to be more thorough, and they're going to communicate with you. This guy didn't get communication. Like I said, I know the dealer. He told me the dealer in Texas, and I'm not going to put him out there. But guys, Futural Marine's not going to do you like that. I'm happy to be partner of Futural Marine. The reason why they're #1 in the state, and once again, guys, they're not just bass boats and fishing. They are anything. That's one thing that makes them #1. They are not just one. They have grown, and they do multiple. But they started with the fishing, okay? But what they do is their customer satisfaction is one of the biggest reasons why they're #1 in the state and top 10 in the country, okay? You can't just get these awards by example what I just shared with you guys. Okay, now I know every dealer has a situation where it could be one bad experience, it happens, okay? But guys, if you are interested in anything from aluminum boats, fiberglass boats, big boats, okay, wake boats, give Futural Marine a call. They're there, I know, on Lake Hamilton. They got that. They got the shop in Nashville, which I've been been at a lot, and I've worked with those guys. I love those guys down there. My man Trent earlier I talked about. He sets up the boats, a lot of the bass boats with electronics. Trent, guys, has forgot more about rigging boats, setting up boats than I know about, but I've learned a lot from Trent, okay, on it. Trent did this before all these fishing electronics was there, and he got to learn through it. And now, of course, where it's at today. So he's, the dude's just, that's what you want. You don't want someone sometimes brand new. You want somebody with the experience, okay? But guys, Futural Marine, like I said, their information is in the description. They help get this podcast possible. So I'm going to give them a big shout out, okay? Appreciate you guys, and I know y'all are done with it. That's the longest intro I've done, okay? Anyway, let's go get into the podcast. Devin, man, I appreciate you being on today, man. It's kind of like, it wasn't last second, but it was. I talked to you a month or so ago, and then you shot me a text and kind of reminded me, hey, dude, Trader Bill's is coming up. You wanted this before Trader, but I appreciate having you on.
I appreciate it, too.
Yeah, I was going to open up with a story before I let you go. I was at Ouachita yesterday, and, dude, like, I just got done idling. I was idling somewhere around Brady, and I hit the trim button, and my dang motor died. Like, boat just died. And I was like, okay, sweet. Here we go. It started up, and I went back to idling. Then it just died while idling. And I'm like, great. And I go to try to start, put it in gear. My electronics was on, though. And I was like, dude, something's up. So I go back to the battery, and dude, my one screw was loose. And luckily, I tightened that dude up, and I was good the rest of the day. But for a second there, I was like, crap, I'm about to be stranded out here. I'm going to troll in with my trolling motor. Have you had any crazy, like, boat stories or anything of, like, top of your head?
Yeah, so the other day, I was actually practicing on Hamilton, and I put in at Hill Wheatley, and I ran up almost as far as you could towards the Coldwater Dam. And I noticed I had like a little bit of air, it felt like, in my steering whenever I was driving up there. Well, I'm on the way back, and I go to make that turn right there by Mazarn, you know where it really cuts. I start turning, the steering wheel's turning, but the motor won't turn at all. So I let off, and when I let off, it just jetted to the left real hard. And finally, like, I played with it enough, I got it to steer, but I had to use the trolling motor to turn to get it on the boat. I had a seal that had went out, and all my the hydraulic fluid on the steering had leaked out, and I completely lost my steering by the time I got to my trailer.
Wow, lucky. I mean, dude, you're doing on a turn, which is dang scary. How fast were you going?
I had the slack, so I wasn't running wide open, but I still was going 60, so I wasn't going slow by any means.
Glad you weren't on Millwood in one of those turns, there around Yarborough.
Yeah.
Dude. So, you said it was a seal. You already got that fixed up then?
I took it that day and dropped it off, and then actually I got my brother's boat to go to Greer's later that week to practice, and I get there, and that used to be my old boat, so I know how it runs and all that. And I get there, it won't start. And I check everything that I normally would. I called him. I was like, dude, what is going on with your boat? And he was like, oh, the kill switch in it's too big. And so I look, and the kill switch, he's got it in there, but it won't press up all the way because it's not the right kill switch. So I get that fixed, and then he's got a Garmin Force, and I turn it on. Well, it turned on, but it didn't turn all the way on. It was in that, like, setup stage. And so then I called him again. I was like, man, you got to tell me what's going on with this thing. I don't know enough about the Garmin Force to know what's wrong with it. And so I ended up he's like, you just got to go to the battery. You got to unplug everything, plug it back up, and it'll be all good the rest of the day.
So let's talk about that Garmin Force. Now, I don't think me or you have any, like, relation with Garmin. Like, you have probably Marine Service. I'm with Futrell, and, like, I use Garmin Live Scope. But, dude, so every electronic lesson trip I have used with the Garmin, somebody else's boat, do we have something like that happen? And it's so frustrating. So, like, even Sunday with that dude, he just got the Garmin Force brand new. He had an older boat, but brand new everything, which is sweet. So, we turn everything on idle. We go to put it in, and it was in that mode, too. And he was like, this has never happened to me. And I'm like, crap, of course this happens on the dang trip when I'm in the boat. So, I start Googling. He's over here messing. I was like, dude, just turn everything off. Just turn it all off. Flip your power switch. And that was it. But one trip, I drove to Oklahoma for this trip. Dude, his foot pedal wouldn't connect to the thing. And we can use the remote, But finally, I was like, dude, let's get some batteries. He's like, I don't need batteries because it's wired. I was like, dude, maybe the wire's messed up. Let's get some batteries. So I had the batteries in my truck that would fit. He didn't. And then it worked. But, dude, like, I love my Minn Kota 4-Trex, or I can just dang get up there and roll. What troll boat do you got? You got an old Trex, or what do you got?
I have an old Trex.
Old Trex, sweet. Which like I said, dude, like those new trolling motors, I'm just scared of them. I'm scared.
Yeah.
But, heck yeah, man. So, your brother, did he, you already kind of talked to me a little bit. Do y'all have a little competition, little brother competition amongst y'all in tournaments?
Oh, for sure. Our the first big solo tournament we competed against each other was this weekend at Mr. Bass on Greer's, and he told me, he's like, I'm fishing against you. He said, I'm not worried about anybody else. I'm beating you on Sunday. And so he did. He beat me. But, yeah, we always do that. Even practicing, we'll go out practice, even if it's a tournament together, and we'll still have, it's always a competition. Even on the day, we're competing against each other in the same boat.
Heck yeah. Well, hey, if he's trying to beat you, I think that's pretty solid, seeing your track record. So, I mean, I guess that's a way to think about it. Like, hey, I'm trying to beat Timmy. I'm trying to beat Baker. Cole Lamb. Cole Lamb had to come in there and remind everybody, hey, I can catch fish too. I don't know Cole, but I mean, I saw like results with him in it before. Him and Matt fished together. Then they fished together. I mean, that dude dang catches them.
Oh yeah, all those guys always catch them.
Yeah, I mean, and so for Greer's, did you and your brother go practice and stay in the same hotel? How did y'all do that?
Yeah, we went up Friday, and we had a buddy that he had a lake house up there. We stayed there, and he's so prideful with it that if he saw me in a spot, he wouldn't even go look at that spot because he wanted it to be completely on him. He didn't want anyone to say anything about, oh, well, you were on Devin's fish.
Dude, I love it. I love it. That just kind of goes to show, like, you and him as a team. I know that's what this is going to air the Monday right before Trader Bill's series. You and him fished Trader Bill's together last year and had a great year. So, top of my head, y'all won the championship. Y'all got second at Washita. What else did y'all do? And just correct me if I was wrong.
Yes, sir. We won the championship, got second at Washita. We had a decent tournament at Greece, and we finished, I want to say, 30th. And then Hamilton, we tried to play the weather on what we thought the fish would do, and then at the end of the day, we ended up doing what they were doing before that big storm, and so we just shot ourselves in the foot because they didn't change as much as we thought that they were going to.
Yeah. Now, Washita, if I remember, let me just backtracking. Y'all had like, what, 22, 23 pounds?
23.
Yeah, a freaking excellent day, and you got second with 23. Did the lake come up, like, during the off-limits?
It came up about, I want to say, 4 foot to 5 foot while it was off-limits.
So...
And actually, that day, we are going down the... We had... First fish I caught that morning, it was a 4-pounder. And that was kind of doing what we were doing. And then we had about 12 pounds in the boat. And we're driving down the lake wide open. And I look at him, and I was driving the boat, and I was like, man, I caught fish right here that were big. But that was like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't been able to get them to bite since. I was like, you want to try it? And he's like, we ain't got nothing to lose. Let's go. Because it was early in the day. And so it was one of those split-second decisions, pull in and fire out. First fish I caught there was a 3, and then next cast I caught that 7.5. And then after that, we just went to regional right there. We stayed right there for the majority of the day, and it was a school that just got fired up, and everything was going right.
Dude, that's awesome. Like, that's the stuff about tournament anglers. Like, you know, me with what I do, content and fishing, taking people fishing. Now, the high school tournaments, I've had to make decisions on the fly and do that stuff. But, like, that's the unseen part of a tournament angler, is making those decisions off the gut, off the fly. And like you said, you hadn't caught a fish there in 2 weeks, but you're like, your gut's like, hey, stop, you know. What was y'all's lure during that tournament? Like, you might not even want to say it. Like, did y'all have one, or y'all catch them on a variety of stuff?
We caught all. If I'm not mistaken, all of our keepers came off of an A rig. If not,
Yeah.
We also were throwing single swim bait in there some as well.
Yeah, I was throwing that A rig a lot yesterday just because I knew those opens guys hadn't been throwing it. And I'm like, hey, these fish hadn't seen it. But, dude, there are some areas in that lake and fish that, dude, they act like they've seen it. It is crazy, you know, like they just come up and they're like, go back around. But there was one hole, dude, like, I threw a jig first. I threw a swim bait. I threw my giant spoon. Dude, they didn't want it. I throw that Alabama rig, here they come. And, dude, it was like fire for like 10 minutes. So it's fisher. We don't know fish like we think we do.
Oh, yeah.
What A-rig are you throwing? Do you throw them all, or do you like to try to stick to one?
I stick with Yum just because I got a little deal with them, so I throw the Flash Mob Junior always. And
oh, okay, good. Yeah, the Scots. I love the Scottsboro. So you're with Yum. I didn't know you're with Yum. Man, that's a big one to get. I know Stick 5. What's other partners, and if you want to say anything, like, so, I mean, I know Stick 5's been a lot with you, and you've promoted him a lot, and it seems like y'all got a great relationship.
Oh, yeah, I'm real big with Stick 5, and then also Davidson's Sporting Goods and Amity. They do a lot. It helps a lot, everything that they do. And then I just got on with Toe Thumper as well.
Toe Thumper, okay. Yeah, you do throw a frog.
Oh, yeah, I love throwing a frog.
I mean, hey, I want to go ahead and say on this podcast, and I don't care who listens, I hope somebody hears this that needs to. You actually catch fish with a frog. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, hey, I'm with this company, Frog, but you actually go to Millwood, Degray. Didn't you catch one of your big fish at Degray on a frog in the tournament? Or like, was that just me hearing stuff?
No, I caught that 7-pounder that morning on a frog.
Dude, that's awesome. See, like, that's why I like, that's some good stuff there. So, Toe Thumper, like, so, hey, you're a frog guy. If you don't want to share juice, you don't got to. If you had to pick, like, 2 colors, what colors are they going to be on a frog?
I would have to go with the bad gill.
Yeah.
The one with the orange stripe. Just because whenever they're on the bluegill, I feel like that orange, it makes a big difference, and it's not overwhelming. I don't love the real bright colors, and then probably would have to go with just a bone color as my other one. I feel like you can do anything with a dark frog and a light frog.
See, you made a good point there, to where like I'm not at. So I don't throw a frog at Clear Lakes, but I know you can do that brim pattern deal with it. So like, I've just never have. And I know people, like you just said it, other anglers do, but I've just never committed to a frog. But it is, like you said, it catches big fish. So that's a good little tip there. And do that Toe Thumper frog, I don't have a relation with them. They, I've talked to them and they've, whatever, and I've done videos and stuff, but it's a good frog. I'll say that. I mean, it is a good frog. That craw gill, I like the craw gill. The soft plastic. I like it as well. Now, Stick 5. You've talked about the hammer I've seen. What's another rod? Like, you like the hammer, because, I just from your post, and they've tagged you in. What's another rod you prefer by them?
I really like their Beast. It's that 710 extra heavy, which I also I love throwing big baits, big spoons, glide baits, and all that, and big swim baits, and it handles those so well. And it's not too heavy as well, even though it's an extra heavy rod that's got a big backbone and all that. You can throw it all day and you're not gonna get wore out.
Yeah, that is. I've not gotten any of those in my hand, but I was wanting just to see, because I had someone else tell me about that 710 rod, and they love it with Alabama rigs. So, and they're made in the U.S., correct?
Yes, they are.
Man, that's also big. We're like, is it North Arkansas that they're based out of, or is it Arkadelphia? North Arkansas.
It's North Arkansas where they're made. The owner, he lives right outside of Arkadelphia. but um, he gets them shipped to his house from North Arkansas, and then he distributes from there.
Awesome. Now, you told me earlier, going back to tournaments, we got the Trader Bills Hamilton coming up. You're fishing are you fishing the BFLs and Toyota? Or no, you're fishing, I know you fished Mr. Bass, but what other circuits are you fishing? Toyotas? What are y'all fishing this year?
I was going to fish the Toyotas, but something popped up at work.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to do that this year. But I'm going to fish the BFLs, Mr. Bass, Trader Bills, and then I'll hop in the ABTT Big Bass tournaments and then all the local stuff that I usually fish around Degray. That's my home lake, so I usually hop in as much as I can.
Yeah, I was looking forward to those big bass tournaments. I like big bass tournaments. I always just like to catch big fish. But, dude, like, we scheduled my 2-year-old's birthday party on that Saturday. So, yeah, that happens. It happens. So, Degray, how long you been fishing Degray?
I probably started fishing Degray when I was old enough to touch rod. I don't know, probably 5 or 6.
Wow.
But it wasn't really bass fishing as much. It was more of my grandpa. He's the one that growing up, me and my brother fished with him. We caught whatever would bite. It didn't matter. We were just fishing for food pretty much and go out camping. And I'd always try to get him to let us go bass fish any chance that we got, but he didn't really love bass fishing, and so he had a bad back, and he always wanted to catfish something so we could sit down, and it wasn't so hard on him, the trolling motor and fighting the waves and all that.
So, and it's interesting to hear, like, I always give those people mad respect now that I fish as much as I do, but if they can catch anything, dude, like, that to me is like is a notch above, because like me, I just like to catch bass. I can go catch crappie, but like in Nashville when I was living down there, I knew a couple guys that they knew when to go catch red ear and where. They could go catch catfish and where. They can go to the ditch and catch fish. And I always was like, dude, like, that's not me, but I wish I was that guy. I wish I could just be like, hey, let's go catch blue cats today, you know, or so I guess your grandpa, was he kind of like just that old school catch anything guy?
Oh, for sure. And it wasn't just with the rod and reel. I remember being young going to the river, the Caddo River in Glenwood, and he'd get us out there and he'd go hand noodling under the rock and stuff. If it bit, he was going to catch it one way or another.
Dude, the noodling, not me. I won't noodle, not me. That's some good stuff. So how young were you noodling? Like 6, 7 years old?
I was a little older, probably about 9 or 10 whenever we would do that.
Gosh, what a cool grandpa.
Oh yeah.
So was it just you and your brother, or was there like cousins too that would fish with y'all?
No, all of our cousins, they still don't really fish. They hunt and all that around, but none of them are big into fishing really.
Also, grandpa loved y'all too then. Man, I hope to be that grandpa one day. And so, hey, is grandpa, is he still alive, or is he passed?
Mm-hmm.
He's still alive?
I don't know if you saw it or not. It wasn't too long ago. Me and my brother, we started taking him down that we have our own boats and everything. And I actually took him bass fishing and put him on the biggest stringer he's ever caught at Degray. We caught 27.5 pounds on Degray.
That was a giant. Yeah. I saw that picture. I was starting to think, was that him? Yeah, that was a good sack for sure. What a day Grandpa got to have.
Oh yeah, and I had to tell him he wasn't stopping. We had about 24 pounds in the live well, and he had about 20 pounds in the bottom of the boat. And I told him where to throw because they were spooled up. And I told him, I was like, you got to stop casting for a minute. Let me get some of these fish distributed out.
Yep.
I can't.
Yep.
You're overwhelming me.
Have you experienced that in a tournament where it's like your guys catching them and you're in the boat? Have you had that happen in a tournament yet?
Actually at Washita, my brother, he was in the back. I was catching. He had to tell me, he's like, all right, you got to give me a minute. He's like, I can't pull all these at once.
Yeah, because the reason I ask, I was that guy with Brad Deal this last year when we did our Derek's Night tournament. Dude, like, he got on his dang spinnerbait kick. And, dude, I was the dang student, right? Like, you know, we fished together, and early, like daylight, I was straight doing my thing. He's over here watching, you know, and, dude, at night, though, he took that trolling motor over and was like, watch this, son. And, dude, he got to work. And, dude, like, I'm in the bottom of the boat with, like, 4-pounders everywhere, culling fish. And I'm like, stop, dude. I want to catch one. And he's just like, no. And he's just still going. And, dude, I mean, people that don't know that don't get it. But, like, it's kind of dang stressful with a bunch of fish in the boat. You're trying to, the bite's on. You're trying to get your lure in there, but you're in the bottom of the boat.
My brother told me that day at Washington. He's like, I think you need to sit down and eat something for a minute. Let me get on the live show. He's like, you're having too much fun.
Man, but there's times where if an angler's hot, you got to let him stay. So, brother, that day, hopefully, he took it for the team. So that's cool, man, to hear that. I like to go everywhere. Davidson's, okay? Mm-hmm. You talked about Davidson's earlier. Dude, is that not the coolest store in, like, I don't want to say Arkansas, because I've not been everywhere in Arkansas, but, dude, like, if you go Little Rock South, Conway South, dude, it's a dang cool store.
Mm-hmm. He has so much in there. You wouldn't think that you could fit that much of a variety in that store. You walk in, and, I mean, he's got more of a variety in there than some really big bait stores that I've been in. So,
dude, no, you're right. That's the thing. And like I said, I like Brandon. I love his store. I want it to do good. So I'm going to, like anybody listening, I'll tell you. So Brandon, dude, during 2020, COVID, I already knew he would carry the Zoom special colors, right? For worms, creature baits. And so I was already getting stuff from him at times. And, dude, there are times I drive from Nashville to his store just to buy, like, 2 things. But he eventually would send them to my house. So, dude, during COVID, I would teach on Mondays, get all my video recording stuff done on Mondays, grade papers. Then other 4 days I'm fishing. And I was on Millwood a lot. And there's a few colors at Millwood that they like that you can't go buy at Academy or Bass Pro. But Davidson's had them. Dude, he would ship them to my house. And you couldn't find stuff because of COVID. It was hard to get stuff because people were buying, you know. But, dude, he had this one color that was like, dude, I bought them all. Like, there's one point I'm like, hey, when you get a shipment in, call me.
Yeah.
But, dude, he has so much cool stuff in that store.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And if he doesn't have something and you want it, he will do all he can to get that in there. And then if it's something that he thinks, okay, well, if he wants it, it's for a reason. So he's gonna make it available, and he's gonna really put it out there and everything. So he's always been real good about that.
Yeah, like I told you on the phone, I don't care. I say it now. Like I called him this summer and was like, hey, what Spro KGB colors you got? This was before his store he made the post about it maybe going for sale or under. And I was like, hey, what Spro KGB colors you got? He said them. I was like, hey, he only had 2 of the brim color lefts. And I was like, I want both of those. And he's like, why? I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Just send them to my house. You know? And so he's like, Easterling, are you catching fish on those? I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm catching fish on them or not. I mean, so, but anyway, dude, he is a good dude. And like I said, he also does the pizza, the hamburgers. Dude has other stuff in there. So it's more than a tackle store. It's a little convenience store. They're in the Amity Circle. So how far are you from Amity? Like where you live at or grew up at? How far are you from Amity?
I'm only about 15 minutes from Amity where I live.
Okay. Nice. So Degray, you probably know Degray like the back of your hand then. You know where every stick, every stump.
My dad, he crappie fishes, and he'll mess with me, and he'll text me whenever he puts piles out, and he'll tell me where they're at. I'll be like, oh yeah, I already found those. He thinks it's great. He's like, you're out there so much. He quit telling me. He's like, I figure you already found them all.
Wow. So Degray, you got to see maybe, or I know you're a little younger than me, but the grass is coming back. So I heard stories of how the grass was just, it was dynamite in the 2000s. When I started fishing, the grass was dying. And when I went to Henderson and worked at Henderson, I was there for 6 years. But dude, Degray was weird because like during that 6 years there was no grass. I would get on patterns of fish different every year, and I could only fish in February, end of April, May, and then June with my football schedule, and some November. But what's your like you growing up learning it, and then with the grass like? Have you seen a change or like I mean, because you know so much about the lake, it's probably hard to fish history. Do you just go or like does the history stuff pretty work?
Some of the history still works because the grass it's not everywhere.
Yeah.
So some of the areas that I had to learn to fish whenever the grass did die and there was no grass, it still works. But some of it that were some of my best spots when it didn't have grass, even though there's not grass anywhere in that area. I don't know if it's because of the grass coming back, it's done something to clean up the water more or something along those lines. It has changed, so I've had to just, which I like fishing grass anyway, so I've really been trying to learn more of the grass as it's growing and all that, but it's definitely changing, but I think it's changing for the better. I'm seeing more big weights compared to when it had no grass at all than that 6-7 year span you're talking about. 16 pounds was a giant sack on Degray.
Dude, 100%. So my first couple years, that was when the slot was there. Was it a 16-inch slot?
It was 16 to 18. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, dude, my first couple years, dude, it was nothing to catch a 17-inch fish. And then by like year 4 to 5, if you're catching a 17-inch fish, that was a big one. It was just crazy, the decline. But like what I've seen, me just moving back and being out there a lot, dude, like I'm excited about the future, but there are still hybrids in the lake. And those dudes dang run that lake. I mean, it is crazy. Like, and so you're fishing grass, and I don't want to get into everything about it. I'm doing a little bit of everything. But I'm seeing the hybrids, how, like the bait fish pattern. I'll go ahead and say it. If someone wants to watch Toledo Bend, what the BPT guys just did, if you try to do that at Degray, dude, those fish are going to be gone. Because them hybrids move the bait fish so much. And so, if them hybrids weren't in the lake, I'm telling you, like I've told people, I think if the hybrids weren't in it, it'd be the best lake in Arkansas. But the hybrids are in it, nothing we can do. But you think they're probably the same thing?
I know it's not the same lake, but even on Hamilton, I was on some bait fish a couple weeks ago. I went in there, and the stripers had moved in. There wasn't a bass anywhere near where I was catching those fishes.
I've not been on Hamilton much since I've moved back, but it's only 7 hours I've been on it, and then I was out there with Carson Humphrey in a tournament. But during that 7 hours, I got on the bait fish deal, and dude, catching good blacks. I mean, and then the next day, dude, they're gone. Like I was kind of on them, didn't pick them all apart. I caught, dude, I caught that one big one on accident. I say accident. I was like, it's out there by itself. Like, hey, that looks like a big fish. Caught it, and then dude, but next day, stripers. I mean, it's them dang stripers. Which to me now, anyway, that's a whole. I don't want to get in that topic. That was but. What's your biggest bass out of Degray? You've caught some bigs. What's your biggest?
9 pounds, 15 ounces. I tried to get it to go 10. Couldn't get it.
Where'd you catch that one on?
I caught it on a drop shot, and I didn't have a net in the boat.
Were you by yourself?
I was by myself. Didn't have, and the wind was whipping, and so I was spot locked. And I mean, where I hooked it, it was right in that soft spot. So I mean, it ripped. It was in the summer. It was in May, and it ripped a big hole because his lip was so tender, And he came up by the boat, and all I could see was that big hole where my hook is. I was like, oh my gosh! And it was such a big hole when I grabbed it, my 2 fingers went straight through that hole whenever I licked that fish. It was a miracle that I landed that thing.
Wow! So I've seen some GoPro footage of you. Do you have a GoPro video of that?
No, that was before the GoPro. That was
okay.
A few years ago.
So, because, dude, like, even with me making content, doing what I do, dude, like, those big fish, there's always a GoPro problem. Like that OHIV fish. Dude, my chest footage wasn't on. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, it was on, but I didn't hit record. Why in the world? You know, like, and you would have saw my dang, because that fish was caught, like, in 50 foot. Like, the boat was in 60, 70, but it was in a tree. And, dude, like, it was so cool to see that fish dart up, look at the Alabama rig, turn around, and I'm talking. Like, dude, it didn't want it. And I just kept reeling. And then it just went away, and then it just went right back to it. And, like, I didn't have the chest footage. Like, the chest footage would have got it. But people say I'm crazy. I'm like, no, dude, that fish did a freaking whole thing. So, luckily I had a dash camera. But that was the only camera in the boat that was on.
Yeah.
It's just cameras, dude. I don't know. They don't work like we want them to.
No, mine the other day, I hit record and I ended up having a real good day, and it was recording for the first spot, and then I moved, and I don't know what happened. I ended up looking back after I was caught up in the moment, not really paying attention, and then I went back and looked, and it hadn't been recording for the past 3 hours.
Yeah.
It kicked off and didn't make a sound or anything.
Mine likes to freeze. Like, mine will freeze, and if I don't catch it, like, whenever it's recording and it freezes, it's corrupted. And at Degray, like 2 weeks ago, dude, I caught some fish, ran around, caught more fish, and at that point, like, when I make content stuff, like, I don't always put everything out there. I might, like, put a couple fish catches, but, like, if I get on something, you know, and, dude, like, I got on something, and then, like, dude, it was done, and I was like, crap, I didn't get any of this, you know. And it happened at Ouachita. And I made that video of, and I only showed one spoon catch, but I caught 4 more. No, I caught 3 more with a spoon and 50 foot. And I'm just here wanting to have it for my own sake. And dude, yeah, they, you know, my chest camera said no, you're not going to get it. So hey, so like your lures, what was your probably? And you might not want to say it. It seems like you're pretty variety. Spinning rod, big baits. Are you like a glide bait guy where it's like the basic Spro, 6 cents, or are you trying to get the dang ones that are hard to find?
I've got a little bit of everything. I've got the Spros, and then I have some of the original KGBs. I played around a little bit with the clutches.
Yeah.
I like those as well, and I even have some of the Arashi, I can't remember that one. The big Arashi one that Polinick throws.
Yep.
And then some of the River to Seas, the S-Wavers, and all of those as well. And then I got some of those 6 cents ones, the draws. And
the draw.
So I'll play around with them, but even the ones that are common, I still like to do things to them to make them different.
Yeah. No, that needs to be all fair. Yeah, I understand. Now, I'll say this, Milliken on the draw, Milliken made that video and talked about modifications for the draw. I gave that a shot, and dude, it's for real. It makes a difference. Anybody want to watch, I can go find out. But dude, the thing about the glide baits is there's so much to learn and to try. I caught them really good with it in April, May, or better than normal. I'm still new to it. I don't know how long you've been throwing it, but I like 2 years I've been throwing them. And then I caught a couple with it this summer, but for me, it was more like that spoon. I like that spoon. I'd rather throw that thing than a dang glide bait. I don't know why, but like some people love the glide baits.
No, I'm with you on that. I think the spoon bite might be my favorite bite. Whenever they're on the big spoon, I think I prefer that over just about anything.
Yeah, and it's dude, like I don't know, like a lot of people are afraid of it, you know, and you're probably throwing it a lot similar to me in just instances of like you're throwing it in hard like timber brush piles, and people won't do that because it's a $20 piece of metal, and but there is something to it. I'm not gonna. I know people that's bought them things and they're like, dude, I can't catch a fish with it. And I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, just
Yeah.
Keep going, you know. but cool. So this last year, Degray was a big win. Y'all won the boat, didn't y'all?
Yes, sir.
What'd y'all do with the boat? Y'all still got it, or did y'all sell it?
No, we ended up selling it.
Oh, great. Did y'all how's that process work? Did y'all get what it's worth, or did y'all sell it less? How'd that go?
From what they told us it was worth, we sold it for a little bit less, but not
Yeah.
we just because we wanted to get rid of it. We didn't want to hold on to it and try to get top dollar for it because it was doing nothing but sitting in. Actually, we moved my brother moved his boat under a shed and we put it in his shop, and so it was. We had boats stacking up. They were like crazy, anyways. It was a cluster.
So did y'all think about like keeping the boat at all, or you're like, man, we got to get rid of it? And did y'all split it? Did y'all take the money and split it? I guess.
We took the money and split it, and actually, we did talk about keeping it at first. He talked about it with the Vexus bonus you get in Trader Bill's.
Oh, that's right.
But it has to be a fiberglass boat, and that was an aluminum bonded boat. So
Time out, really?
I didn't know that either until he talked about keeping it because he has a 2012 Ranger, and so it was about the same size and everything as the Ranger that he has. So we considered it, but then whenever they told us about how the bonus works and all that, we decided not to.
So so like this year Trader Bill's, I've not looked at all the prizes. Are they giving away another aluminum boat or a fiberglass boat?
Aluminum.
They are. Okay, come on, Trader. I know people trade. I know a few people at Trader Bill's. Come on, that's Bush League, man. Let's give a fiberglass boat away. I mean, come on, man. Maybe they want y'all to sell it, take that $50,000 and go buy a fiberglass boat. I've been in Vexus's. I've been in every boat, and I know I'm with Futural Marine, and I'm not trying to do anything, you know. But like, and like I've been in Vexus's. I've been in two, and so like on my forward-facing sonar trips. Dude, like those guys typically are like, take my boat and drive, right? And I'm over here nervous as all get out. Dude, the first time I was in a Vexus was at Lake Fork on a live scope trip. And the dude was like, hey, I just got this boat 2 months ago. Take it out. And I'm like, no, dude, this is Lake Fork. But
Yeah.
he knew I knew Lake Fork a lot more than him. And he bought the chip for the guide lanes. And I got the chip and I've ran it around, you know, but dude, I was nervous. That boat was sweet though. I'm not gonna lie. Like, dude, it was nice. There's positives and negatives about boats. The cool thing about their boat, the fiberglass, I don't know about that aluminum. I like that step up, like to get on the deck. It's a drawer, so you pull it out. It's like an organized drawer. So I think that's one feature that don't get talked about in a Vexus.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that aluminum boat had it, but come on, yeah, the Trader Bill's needs to give a fiberglass away. Let y'all guys go win some more money. The belt buckle's cool. You go get you a belt buckle. Those belt buckles are cool. Man, Trader Bill's gonna get mad at me. I don't care. Whatever. I just, you know. Hey, so speaking of Trader Bill's, Hamilton's this weekend. Are there any tournaments you're excited about, or you just like focus on the tournament, or do you look at the schedule and you're like, hey, that one's mine? Do you ever do that?
I'm always excited when I do see Degray, just because. But at the same time, Degray, with me knowing so much about it, I feel like at times I can hurt myself because I have so much I'm trying to do.
Yep.
But I'm always excited for Washita. I love fishing Washita. Hamilton beats me more times than I beat it. So
the love hate relationship. Because you won a tournament at Hamilton this summer, a big one.
I got second. I didn't win it.
Oh crap, my second. I'm sorry, messed that up. But yeah. So Hamilton. What do you think gets you about Hamilton than the other lakes?
I think it's because Hamilton fishes so different compared to what I like to do. I'd rather stay out deep in clear water. And Hamilton, the water's constantly changing, and there's color on it more time than there's not. And it takes me out of my comfort zone. Whenever I'm in dirty water, I like fishing the shallow vegetation, like on Millwood and all that.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those places in the middle where I've got to try to figure out something completely
Yeah.
different than my comfort zone every time I'm there.
And like Hamilton, I know we talked about it before, like off air, but like me, if that tournament next weekend, if it's mostly stained and muddy, I feel like I'm about to get beat because those dudes that's been fishing the lake so long know the shallow spots to crank. I love cranking shallow, like Stain Lake. I know you've been to Derrick's a few times. In the winter at Derrick's, dude, like I learned that trap bite and took it to Degray, took it to Washita, and like stained and muddy. But like Hamilton, I couldn't find the areas because those dudes already know it, and like I don't think I could. But if it was clean, I think I could, take the pace just because of how I like to fish offshore and do that. But Hamilton does change that lake, man. It's not it does fish so much different than the other places. Washita. Have you been down near the dam at Washita recently? Like, do you fish down there much, or you fish like mid lake?
You're talking about the dam over there by Echo Canyon.
Yeah.
I do fish over. I fish all over the lake, really. I stay away from the rivers usually. I don't go up to the mountain park a lot, but yeah, I went down there not too long ago actually, and played around.
Yeah.
Those fish up there though, they can be some of the hardest fish to catch.
Okay, you said it. Thank you. You said it. So, I went down there and played around one of my trips. And, dude, the problem I found that day, now this was that day. I'm not going to say where, so if people actually listen and want to follow, but, dude, I don't care. Like, they can try to catch these fish. But the wind was blowing in the direction in the creeks to where I didn't find fish, except stripers. In the creeks where there was no wind, I found bass. And, dude, they wouldn't eat nothing. Like you said, like, dude, they'd come right up there, eat, and just stop. And I knew it had to be because of the wind. And, if I had a little bit of wind, I think I could have caught them. But I just didn't know, like, I just moved down here. And I wanted to go over there to try to find some smallmouth. But I don't know if I was throwing at smallmouth or not. I mean, dude, because, they all look the same dots. But,
yeah.
But, yeah, I just didn't know. Because, like, that day I was down there, didn't see a boat. I didn't see a boat. So I don't know if it gets fished a lot or not, So I did catch a big striper, which I knew was a striper, but I didn't know it was like that big, dude. That sorry dude, it was a dang tricep workout.
Yeah, the first striper I caught was down there. Because we don't have stripers at Degray, we just have hybrids and whites, and those big hybrids they fight. But the first true striper I ever hooked out there, it's insane the difference between a striper and a hybrid.
Yes. So, like, this striper reminded me of that. I've not caught a striper in so long. And I've been catching those hybrids at Degray. But, dude, this striper, dude, it wore me out. Like, I was over here just, like I said, tricep workout.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so how big was that striper? Like, what's your biggest striper?
23 pounds.
Gosh, that's a big striper.
Yeah, and when I hooked it, it was like I hooked the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
There was no give at all, and then it started whooping my butt.
That one I caught down there was 21. And like I said, when I looked at it on the scope, I knew it was a striper, but like how it was positioned, I thought it was like 5-7 pounds. And I just changed colors on my lures, and I was like, dude, let's see if this dude wants this color. Throw it out there. He comes up and hammers it. And then when it started taking off, I was like, dude, this is no 5-pound fish. And it just 15 minutes later, I finally got it in the boat. I wanted my jig head back because I had a tungsten jig head. And spinning rod, I caught the thing on a spinning rod,
Oh,
so
gosh.
It was a 15-minute fight. Dude. Like, my GoPro, it wore me out, but them sorry stripers. But, dude, hey, this has been a great podcast. I appreciate you. Any other at the end shout-outs, any thanks? I know you already talked about your sponsors, but any thanks to family or anything?
Oh, yeah, just to my brother, because he's the one that really keeps me always going. The days when I don't feel like going, he's always, you need to get out there and everything. And then also all of my family that helps me out with everything else and all the support I get from all friends and all that.
Awesome, man. Dude, I appreciate it, Devin. It's been a good one. Enjoy chilling with you. And, guys, if you have any questions for Devin, man, Leave us any comments in the YouTube segment. I always forget to say this at the beginning because people might not always hear the last 5 minutes. But appreciate it, man, and we'll see y'all guys on the next one.